Welcome back to the Dalitalks podcast. I want to talk to you today about an issue within bullying. Usually I have a variety of topics. It's not always about bullying, but I feel like it's something that I need to talk about because as of today, it is July 20th and children will be starting school as early as the first week of August. From what I learned, it's crazy because that used to never happen in the United States. It used to schools, from what I remember growing up in the 90s, they began the school year either before the week before or Labor Day weekend or the week after. But that's changed. So I want to talk to you about creating a anti-bullying culture or just standing up against a bullying culture. Why? Because bullying doesn't just happen. It happens because societies allow it to happen. Hear me out. If you go to a botanical garden, you know without being told that that is a respected place. And you wouldn't dare walk in there and start disrupting the beautiful trees and rose bushes and things like that. You wouldn't trash the place, right? Why? Because somebody would quickly come over and say, hey, you have to stop or you're going to get kicked out. There are other spaces where stuff like this is overlooked. Institutions and society, organizations, they all create cultures, right? Let's take, for instance, two retail stores. I think you're going to guess which ones I have in mind, but one retail store is very large, very popular. It's in every state almost that I know of. And people go there and it is known that people don't care about their appearance when they go there. Carts are left everywhere at the parking lot, even their trash, right? You drive up there and you're like, ugh, don't really want to be here. It's kind of dirty, disorganized. You go into the store, the shelves are disorganized. There's always a long line at the checkout, and it's just not a very pleasant experience. This behavior is allowed, it's accepted so much that people continue behaving that way. Take the other store, the parking lot is always clean. Carts are put away for the most part. The shelves are neatly organized. And as soon as a line starts to form, if it looks a little too long, I've noticed about 5 or 6 people, then a cashier will open up another register. Or they will open up more self-help, self-checkout registers. So that has happened because these stores have created a culture. At one store, the cleaner one, if you decide to walk in looking raggedy, really messed up, people are going to give you a certain look of disapproval. And if you bring in your trash and you just leave it everywhere, people are going to give you a look or even report you. And somebody will come over and say, hey, pick up your trash, please, or you're going to be asked to leave. The other location, the one that's always disorganized, that doesn't happen so much. People don't even bother telling anybody because they might have noticed that if you report something, nobody's going to care. Management's not going to go and do anything about it. So at one location, there are consequences for bad behavior. And at the other one, there isn't. So when it comes to creating an anti-bullying culture, a culture that just rejects bullying behaviors, they focus a lot on educating their public. And they do this by role modeling. And some of them, like at schools, they actually teach about bullying awareness and prevention. And in order to eliminate or reduce bullying culture, you must start with education and awareness. It's just plain and simple. Education plays such a vital role in addressing bullying culture, and schools and communities should implement comprehensive anti-bullying programs that teach students, teachers, and parents about the different forms of bullying. They should also teach its impact on on victims, and the strategies to prevent and address it. And I take pride in myself that I deliver information for all three, for all three categories: the students, the teachers, and the parents. And yes, I do mostly work with the parents and the teachers, but the information, the way that I teach it, is so that the teachers and the parents educate the children. So I'm kind of educating the kids too, because I'm passing on like the prompts and the information. So raising awareness through workshops, seminars, campaigns, books, podcasts, all of that can help foster empathy through understanding among individuals, leading to a more compassionate society. So the second thing I think is really vital is creating supportive environments. So again, I give you the example of the two stores. One of the stores will respond to somebody reporting, say like that they're leaving their fast food trash in between aisles. The other one will probably take forever to get there and remove it and try to talk to the person that did it. You know, the care, the level of care is not quite there. So when you create supportive environments, you build a culture of inclusivity, acceptance, and support, which is crucial to combating bullying culture. So if you have a school where a child is always reporting some bad behavior, but the child continues to see that nothing happens, they feel like that supportive environment is not there. They'll also stop reporting because they think, well, nobody cares. The bully's always doing that, right? So schools, workplaces, and community spaces should actively promote an environment where everyone feels valued and respected, regardless of their differences. Encouraging open communication, empathy, and active bystander intervention can help empower individuals to stand up against bullying and support those who are targeted. Because you know what? It feels really lonely and you feel really foolish when you report something and they just look at you like you are the problem for reporting it. Has that ever happened to you? It's like, it's crazy. I don't understand why people do this, why societies do this. This happens all the time when women speak up about sexual harassment or workplace harassment. It is just ludicrous. We blame the victim. We blame the one who had the courage to speak up and say something. So we need to implement strong policies and consequences. And I think that's the third important element. Societies should have a clear and enforceable anti-bullying policies in their schools, and workplaces, and any other institution. I mean, even daycares, rec centers, summer camps, all of them. These policies should define what constitutes bullying behavior. It should outline the appropriate consequences for perpetrators. And remember, I'm saying consequences, not punishment, because those are two totally different things. They should ensure a safe reporting mechanism for victims and witnesses too, because if they feel safe by reporting something, then they will do it. And by holding individuals accountable for their actions, societies send a powerful message that, hey, bullying is not tolerated here, and those who engage in it will face consequences. So remember, it's really important that stopping bullying culture is an ongoing process. It requires continuous effort from every single member of society, and it starts with you. It starts with every individual. By working together, supporting one another, we can create a safer and more compassionate world for everyone, not just our children, because you know what? I've been hired many times to talk about workplace harassment, which is workplace bullying. So it happens not just in childhood. And you all know this, you've seen it or experienced it. So that is my message for today. It's short and sweet. Please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you don't even know where to start. If you're even curious about where to find your school's anti-bullying policies, like, how can you get a copy of it and look at it and, ask questions about it? Because you have that right as a member of the community. You have that right. Even if your children are not at that school anymore, you have a right to ask. And that's usually public information. Those policies are usually online at the school district website. And if you are at an organization, go to the HR department or legal department, since usually these have to be drafted by with the assistance of an attorney to make sure that nobody's rights are being violated. All right. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, your reviews mean so much to me. I appreciate that you're always listening. And I ask you to please also share this episode with somebody else. Thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Hey, did you like that episode? If you did, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you may be listening and write a review. If you want more tips or some behind-the-scenes videos, make sure to follow my mom at Dalitalks on Instagram. You can turn on notifications for her posts and stories as well. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. See you next time.